Hello, welcome to Surrogate Church. I'm Marianne Franzese Chasen, and this is episode 3. In our first 2 episodes, we were talking about this concept of surrogacy. It is the story, my family's story, of carrying my sister Rosalie and her husband Stephen's baby over 13 years ago, at a time at which I really came to a new understanding of what divine feminine is all about. Well, today we are looking at the point in a journey where all great heroes' journeys, there comes a point when you sort of need to stop and really take on some supernatural assistance in the process. Last time we talked about implantation, when the embryo was implanted and we were in our waiting period. Well, during that waiting period, I turned to our church, my church, the Catholic Church, to find some of that supernatural aid. Now, in most heroes' journeys, that kind of assistance is all about helping the hero to have some tools to fight the dragons, to slay the dragons. Well, for me, it turned out a little bit of an opposite journey. My tools actually ignited a fire in me. It helped me to find my inner dragon. So today we bring fire to the stage, we bring the dragon to the stage, and we bring the conception, the moment of conception of a new way of establishing a church, a place within, a place without, a place within the community to really love God and find our inner fire to create good in the world. There is a movement inside of me emerging from the place where my 4 children took form. Scandals of sexual abuse flood my church. The heart beats from the very beginning. And so, like all our shows, we begin with my darling little dragon, Mary Napolitano, my surrogate daughter. So the heart beats from the very beginning. And your little heartbeat really set my heartbeat racing in a way, Mary. And I actually feel a little nervous today because some of the pieces I'm going to read are a little more fiery. Yeah. So I'm a little nervous about that. But anyway, I'm here with you and you're gorgeous.
Thanks.
How are you?
Good.
So Mary and I actually watched our first show of Surrogate Church together. How was that to see it?
I didn't even watch myself.
You couldn't watch?
No.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't like to watch myself.
It's embarrassing?
Yeah.
Like what part do you focus on?
Like how I talk.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hate the way I talk. It was so hard anticipating seeing myself. And then once it was, I was like, so what? Right?
Yeah.
It's good. It is what it is. So, how do you like my shirt today?
Nice.
Come on, really. What do you think?
Well, those arms right now aren't really that in.
These arms aren't
the flabby arms.
Flabby arms. I got this in Fox's, I'll have you know. Do you know Joey from Fox's?
No.
He is the best salesman ever, and he said that it looked really good.
Okay.
It's my dragon wings. Yeah?
We'll go with that.
We'll go with that. All right. Well, one of the things that I was thinking about, this is kind of a sweet thing, when I was watching back the tape of Surrogate Church, because doing the show Surrogate Church is like such a new beginning for me. And I thought, you know what? In the same way that I was a surrogate for you, like I was a vehicle to bring you into the world, you and the way that you came into the world, you're really like a surrogate for me. Do you know what I mean by that? No, that's a little hard to understand. I feel like your story has carried me into like this beginning of a new life, which is actually reading my words. Look, I have thousands of journals, right? You've seen them in my house. Putting them out on camera, like standing up for what I believe in. It's new life. It's new life. And it came at a time where a big piece of my old life was ending, right? Mary, who's the youngest of my 4 kids, is going off to college, so it's an empty nest. And also, as you know, Uncle Lee and I aren't going to be together anymore. And I have to say about that, Uncle Lee loved your birth story so much. And he is such a big fan of yours. So even though we may be parting, it doesn't mean he's not your uncle anymore, right? So I don't know, I just kind of was thinking about that. Makes sense?
Yeah.
A little sad, but good. You're carrying me right now. So what do you think of my dragon on the podium? Did you notice that artwork?
I didn't think it was a dragon.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was just like a spiral.
A spiral, right?
Yeah.
Well, it actually is a dragon egg. I painted it with my friend Celeste. Do you know Celeste?
No.
Celeste is a good longtime friend. And when I started going through the breakup with Uncle Lee, I went to her studio and we painted. And I actually wrote afterwards. And I wanted to read it to you because I feel like it's an important message for young women. Okay, I'm reading it from my journal. New life is coming. A dragon egg has lived in my heart for centuries. So afraid of the fire, I've stayed in the water for a long time now, giving birth to a mermaid or 2. So afraid of the fire, I've lived in the woods for a long time now, giving birth to redwood critters and green goddess fairies. So afraid of the fire, I've lived in the air for a long time now, giving birth to a few angels and 1 or 2 birds. So afraid of the fire, I married a man and lived in a cozy tower for a long time now, giving birth to the hopes and dreams just beyond his own reach. In the end, he set me on fire, the one element missing to hatch the blue-eyed dragon, waiting for so long to be born now. I thank him. He did what he came to do. He slayed the princess and freed the dragon. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I thought it was like, don't let people like take you for granted.
In a way, because the princess is very accommodating. The princess absolutely will let people take her for granted. But will the dragon?
No.
No, the dragon is much mightier, and the dragon has fire. But the place that I finally come to is that even though I thought he was hurting me, right, he actually gave me something. So it's back to this idea that sometimes our obstacles, the things that get in our way, the things that we think are bad or wrong, could actually help us to become a stronger, fuller, wiser, kinder, braver person. And that's a lot about what happened in my journey with your birth, because one of the first steps for me was turning to my faith and finding that it just wasn't what I thought it was, and I was really mad for a long time. But then I realized, wow, it's opened a door to the fire. So, do you think you've got some fire in you?
Yeah.
When does your fire come out?
I don't really know.
Think about it. What would you think is fire for you? Like your
Like
spark.
when I dance.
Totally! Especially your hip hop. So fiery. So feisty. So beautiful. Do you think you'll ever dance on the show?
No, probably not.
Never, even if we gave you a good song?
No.
All right. So I'm going to read my next piece. It's called Lady of Grace. It's actually a story with your cousin Sage, who is a good buddy of yours to this day. Adore him, and he adores you. So here we go. My Lady of Grace. I go to Our Lady of Grace Church to light a candle. My 6-year-old son, Sage, is with me. Where have all the candles gone? We put our dollar in a box. He presses a button. The orange light of an electric candle pops on in front of a statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Sage says his prayer. Jesus, please make Roro's baby come to life. I don't like the fake light. We walk around, look at the other statues. We find the Blessed Mother. Sage asks for another dollar, lights the candle. I look up at her, and then it occurs to me. The Blessed Mother was a surrogate. Sage starts nagging me for more dollars. It's not that I just want to press the buttons, Mom. I really want Roro's baby to come. I look for Mary Magdalene. Why isn't she here? She was such a good friend to Jesus, his soulmate on earth. Why is she nowhere to be found? Her absence feels wrong. And why haven't I noticed it before? Sage dips his finger in the holy water. He blesses himself. Mom, Roro smells like holy water. What? Smell. He sticks his wet fingers under my nose. I don't smell anything. Sage says, I really like church. I want to come back again. Do you want me to take you to Mass on Sunday? No, not with all the people here. I like it when it's empty. I like it when it's empty too. It's peaceful. Can we find Archangel Michael? I don't think there's a statue of him here. Okay, then I have to go right to God. Why? Because I have an important prayer to tell him. Sage goes right up onto the altar. The voice of my Catholic upbringing reprimands. He's not allowed to do that. I let him do it anyway. Sage says, God, please get rid of all the kidnappers. I think of the priests who stand up on these altars, adorned in the garments of the church, preaching in the name of Christ, dipping their fingers in holy water, then dipping them down into the undergarments of children. How many souls have been kidnapped by anointed hands? Childhood, innocence snatched by the collar. Father Tom, the youth minister, walks onto the altar. He smiles sweetly at Sage. Sage whispers to me, is he a good one? I reassure, yes, he's a very good man. Sage won't look at him. I take the opportunity to ask, Father, why isn't there a statue of Mary Magdalene here? He responds, oh, the statues are for the more popular saints. I look up at him and say with a smile, but she is a lady of grace. He looks at me pleasantly and states, maybe she's your lady of grace. He is not good. The words pop like the orange light of the electric candle in both my ears. It hurts to be so sensitive. Why must I have such an unpleasant reaction? I don't know, but I can't ignore what I heard. I take my little boy by the hand and I will not return. I find a book called The Gospel of Mary Magdalene. It is one of the Gnostic Bibles, the ones that were destroyed when the Roman Catholic Church was established as an institution. I like holding it, having her near me. I'm curious. What is it that she wants me to know? I read her gospel, it's too short. I want more. I want the missing pages. I want her to have a place of honor in our church. She wasn't even a prostitute. Why do they teach us that story? There was a story in the newspaper the other day, God's honest truth. Father Tom, the youth minister at Our Lady of Grace Parish in West Babylon, New York, was arrested for possession of child pornography. Hail, ladies, full of grace. Blessed are we who speak in the name of our children. Holy Mary's mother of all, pray for those sinners and give us the courage to do what we need to do. The time has come to rip out the wiring and bring back the burning flame of a candle that is made from wax. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Are you with me? The church became my obstacle. And through the course of the journey, I found that that obstacle ultimately led me to my destiny. And so, sometimes the evil, the wrong, the thing that ignites the fire in our heart is actually the way to find what we're really about. That day I found my fire, and I would never go back. There was no going back, at least not the way it is. But I do put out a call today. I put out a call to all those good priests out there because I know you're out there. If you're good and you want to speak to this issue, if you want to come on and have the talk with me and tell us how heartbroken you are because of what was done to our church, please sit on my couch. I welcome you. If there's an altar boy or a girl server who somehow lost their faith to anointed hands, I welcome you here. Because a story untold that lives inside of you is one of the greatest agonies to carry. So let us light the way, and maybe this is the space for you. You are welcome. Well, today, I have my Sage with me as a guest. Sage at the time was 16. He is now 20, just finished his finals, and he will be joining us and maybe remembering that day. I don't even know if he remembers it or not. So here I am with my one and only son, Sage. Welcome to the couch.
Thank you.
With his notorious sidekick, Colette. Sage and Colette have been friends since
Kind of sixth,
7th grade.
6th
Mainly
grade, but you
seventh.
weren't really her friend. She was trying to be
Yeah.
Oh, I loved him.
You were in love with him, right?
I was. I really.
And
Here
what
we go,
happened?
just jumping right into
Go ahead.
it.
And then what happened?
Well, you
Here we
you
go.
asked. Okay, so it all started before the 6th grade dance.
Haunted by this story.
I was at my locker, and she came up. I was actually
I was
dating her
goth.
best friend at
Yeah.
the time.
It's true.
Who was your best friend? At the
Okay.
time?
What?
No,
This
you
is
don't
so
have to
weird.
say your best friend.
Not my
Okay.
best friend.
So anyway, you were dating a good friend of
Yeah.
yours at the time.
And she would always like say weird things and ask me weird things,
That's very Colette.
Very forward, yeah.
and that's
always.
all I knew of her. And then before our 6th grade dance, I was at my locker, and she came up behind me and like grabbed my hair and was like, "Are you ready to dance your heart out, redhead?"
What a great pickup line.
And I was just like,
Oh my god, I was
"Who are
so
you?"
confident for a little goth.
For a 6th grader.
For a 6th grade goth, yeah.
Yeah, so then,
We walked into the 7th grade.
well, no, over the summer in 6th grade, you
Oh,
asked me
yeah.
out. And
That's
I said,
true.
no, maybe in high school. And you said, are you
No,
sure? I'll only ask once. This is a once in
I
a
was like, this is
lifetime opportunity. And I was like, yep, I'm sure.
Confidence. Oh.
Sage was like, phew, once in a lifetime opportunity. I am letting it go.
And yeah, then literally 7th grade.
7th grade, we had the same schedule. So I walked into class and I was like, hey. And then we just immediately became best friends.
Well, I remember, this is such a moment. They both had this secret guilty pleasure, which was Pokemon, which they wouldn't tell anyone. Remember playing Pokemon?
I'm dead that you brought that up.
Is that bad that I said
It was
No.
like a 30-second.
No,
like,
our main guilty pleasure was Nancy Drew.
Oh, true.
That was the
That
true.
was addicting.
That was the true thing.
It still
so they
kind
would
of is.
just,
Oh, true. If we had a PC right now.
they actually contacted the voice of Nancy Drew and
Lonnie
became
Manella.
friends with her.
Lonnie
What's
Manella,
her-
queen.
Lonnie Manella.
Yep.
She has a beautiful voice, and she was so open to
Oh, yeah.
responding
Oh, yeah.
to you and being right there with you. And then Colette, you did ask him to the prom. He said yes. To
Oh
that.
yeah,
course.
of course. I asked them with like a picture book
That was
of
so
like
sweet.
memories from like the 7, 8
And she
years
got me
that
a
we had
shirt
been
that said
friends.
Colette's prom date.
And I made myself one for Sage's prom
And I
date.
think like you reserved him back in October or November.
No, we
right?
had like a group of friends and they were all like, I want to take Sage, I want to take Sage. I was like, step aside, I'm going with Sage. It's a long time coming, okay? Pause.
And you guys were gorgeous. What a good couple.
God.
And then when Sage went off to college, I think that was one of the most heartbreaking moments.
Oh my gosh, I
yeah.
cried so much. We listened to Cheryl Lloyd in the car and hysterically cried. Well, I did. And he was like, it's okay.
No, but the crying in the living room, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
like,
so
this
sad.
is true friendship.
Yeah.
And
I
you
was so
continue.
sad.
So how are you maintaining friendships that you're both in different colleges? Sage is at Lehigh. Colette is at the very creative Leslie College.
Basically, like, I think because we're such good friends, like, she's basically my sister, it's not like we have to, like, set, like, oh, we need to FaceTime once a week, or, like, we need
It's
to text
very
each
low
other.
pressure.
Right.
It's
It's
just,
like,
it's so easy.
we know we're there for each other whenever we
Yeah.
need each other.
And partnership is so key. And the two of you, one of the things that you know how much I love this is when you guys write music together. So Sage and Colette write songs together, record songs.
We do. We're actually trying, it's in the works, trying to create some sort of, like, EP.
Yes.
And did you find a name for the two of you?
We're still working
No.
on it. We
Did
can't
we
find.
give you some good suggestions?
You did, but none of them were good enough.
Well, I don't even remember, but what
So true.
doesn't matter. So here, you were just sitting in the audience. You heard the piece I just read.
Yes.
Do you remember that day at Lady of Grace?
I remember parts. Mainly, I just remember clicking the candles. And I
love
remember
that.
when you asked me why. I remember saying, because Roro's baby.
Yes. you
And
were
I
praying
remember
for
that's
that.
why I was doing it, but I don't.
Yeah, you were only 6 years old at the
Yeah.
time. And look, I have a reminder, the orange light of the fake candle. Why are there fake candles? I love the real candles, right? But there it is. There's the fake ones. Colette, are you Catholic?
No, I was raised Lutheran.
So it's different. And hearing these stories, how does that impact you?
I mean, I was an alkalite and like a crucifer for my church, so I was like altar aid and stuff like that. And no one ever spoke to me about the like horrors of the Roman Catholic Church, which is just like really they're sisters kind of, these two churches. And I remember there was such a correlation between like the masses at like St. Killian's, which was right by my church, and St. Luke's. And I don't know, it's just kind of, you pick up things along the way and kind of figure it out for
Do you
yourself.
feel like you've carried it with you? Like, how does faith work in your life?
I feel like it's kind of like what you're saying, how like the church is kind of within you, you embody whatever you choose to. So I think that maybe organized religion isn't for everyone, and that's okay. If you want to, then sure, but make it a positive experience. Don't take on like that group mentality. Kind of really the relationship that you have with your creator, whatever it is it's an A-B connection. Like no one else is going to have the connection that you do. So it's just kind of like, you know, don't tread on anyone else's connection. Focus on yourself and just make sure it's as pure and like divine of a connection that you can have. And kind of like looking at other people and it kind of strays you from that.
Right. It's really personal.
Yeah, there's
And it
no
felt
right
very
way.
impersonal
Right.
when I was in
There's not a right
church.
or wrong way or judgment around that. Right. It is a personal connection. Do you remember, Sage, with the holy water when you said it smells like Roro?
Yes, I still think that.
That is so funny. Now, I know you and Roro share this affinity for colognes and perfumes,
Scents.
right? For scents.
Smell is like really.
Smell is key. And association with smell.
Yeah.
I have such a bad sense of smell.
You do.
And the metaphor for me that day was like, oh my gosh, like I can't sniff out anymore who's good, who's not good. That is what killed me that day, because I loved Father Tom until he dissed Mary
Right.
Magdalene. But for the most part, I just thought, this man is sweet. He is so loving and gentle. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I tell?
Yeah.
My faith has blinded me. It's taken away my sense of smell. It's taken away my intuition. I don't know anymore. And that's the part that really kind of just sent me soaring, because it was the protection of the kids.
Yes.
Like, how do I bring my kids here? How do I know when you, as a little boy, actually asked me, is he a good one? Because I guess I was talking that not everybody's a good priest at home. I must have had my say. But you have that in your head to begin with.
Yeah. So
how about this idea of, you know, how obstacles can sometimes become your guide?
I think that's definitely, like, honestly the key to life. You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, that whole type of mentality. And, like, when I had cancer, that, like, just totally changed my outlook on life.
Yeah.
Basically, like, it taught me to just do what I love. Like, because life really doesn't have any set purpose. And kind of like we were saying with faith, like, you have to make it. There's no right way to live your life. So you should just do what makes you happiest, and what's best for you and the people around you. Yeah.
Now, Sage's cancer story, when he was 13, he had a very rare form of skin cancer, and it was originated in a mole on the back of your neck that we were told time and time again was fine, benign, not a problem. But Sage hated it and nagged me. Do you remember nagging me? Get it off, get it off, get it off. And me and his dad were like, look, like, you have to embrace all of you. You're not going to be perfect. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Sage was like, no, this has got to go. It's just got to go. Yeah. And so we finally go, and they test it. They take it off and test it, and it's malignant. And you have to begin this series of treatments.
Well, no, they didn't even. They biopsied it and said it was fine. It could have been something, but because I was so persistent, they took it out. And then during the surgery, like the minor surgery, that's when they...
Right, they realized it was a tumor underneath it, this desmoplastic. And when you came through that, I remember you saying, you know what? You only live once, and I am just, if I can do anything, I want a record deal, right?
Yes.
I want to sing.
That was, yeah.
That was your moment at 13. And then you started going to all those
And you did too.
singing competitions.
You had to take me.
I had to take him to The Voice, to the X Factor. Like 2 a.m. we'd be on trains,
horrible.
going for these crazy auditions. But it was like this fight for, you know what, I'm going to do what I love.
Right.
And, and not look back.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's like it took your innocence, cancer, I felt like, but it really gave you substance.
Oh yeah. I'm like so, like, grateful for it in a sense.
Right.
Because I think another like huge thing I took away was trusting my intuition. Because if I hadn't been nagging you guys about getting it removed, like who knows?
Right.
And even though the doctor said it was nothing, like I knew it was something.
Colette, do you remember that time? Because you were good friends with Sage.
I do. I remember when he was going through his surgeries and his radiation and stuff, people would see him from a distance. I remember I was on the lunch line once, and I was with these people that I was not very close with, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And I remember I like snapped at them. I was like, "Shut up."
You were protecting.
I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Did you have to carry his backpack? Because he had somebody
At
did.
some point.
I think so.
Because he had a big scar going across.
Yeah,
the
and
back
it was really red at one point. There's only so much you can do too to like hide it. So it's just like, and everyone's so like nosy in middle school, and everyone wants to know everyone's business, and they're catty, and it's just, I don't know. It made me just like very kind of like pissed.
And
but,
protective. You were really.
I mean, I tried to be. I was just a young goth.
Funny. So cute. But now you don't want to pursue music in the same way anymore.
If the opportunity presents itself, yes. And like I still do it as a hobby, but I realized that like when going to school, when choosing where I wanted to go to school, music school was a big question, or music production type stuff. But I just like, I didn't like the like, I guess science and like actual like, I don't know, like method behind music in a way. Like I like it just
theory.
as a creative outlet. Like
Creative
that's
outlet. So we have some of your creative
Yes.
pieces. Actually, the piece on the back is yours, which is the King of Diamonds.
it. Yes.
I love that. So what inspired this?
So this was from my two-dimensional design class, and we were given a prompt that was basically like create your own playing card in the style of a specific artist. And I was given Basquiat, who's like pulls inspiration from like his Caribbean roots and like that area, plus pop and urban
I love
and
it.
street art type of stuff.
What I love about it, it's the King of Diamonds, and on it you have the words in the rough, in the rough, in the rough. And like that metaphor of the diamond in the rough,
Yeah.
to me is more precious than the actual beautiful, precise diamond.
Yes.
That
I
diamond
agree.
in the rough is so special. And what else have we got here?
So these are this and this are my two most recent projects. I guess I'll start with this one. So this was for my 3D design class this semester, which I had an awesome professor who really let me like just do whatever I wanted with it. Like she gave us a prompt, but there was no specific style she was looking for. So we chose like 3 words out of a hat. I got spiky, cushiony, and compromise, and then we were handed a plank of wood and just had to create.
Wow. So spiky, what was the other one?
Cushiony,
Cushiony.
and compromise.
So I could see spiky. I
Uh-huh.
kind of see cushiony in like the round edges.
Yeah.
And where is the compromise?
So compromise, I basically wanted to make it like a little world where like the cushions and the spike like work together, like, and this how like, and I also went for the like negative version of compromised, like when your health is compromised or something's compromised by
Okay.
something else. So like this piece is compromised by the spike, it's split in half, and actually when you pull that, it moves.
Pull it,
okay.
if you could do it.
So then that moves, that falls. So
I
now
love
it's back
that.
together and like the cloud.
Don't you like this
compromises.
idea of like 3 words, Colette?
Yeah.
Right? Take 3 words and create something out of it?
I love it.
All right, we're going to play a game.
Oh God.
Oh, God. Here we go. Here. Pick 3 words out of the journal. Just flip through the first 3 words. Go.
Me?
Yes, pick 3 words.
Okay. Did I have to be all on the same page?
No, it's you. It's whatever
Alright,
you want.
Let's
You
do
want
more
more
gratitude,
gratitude
music.
and music. So more gratitude music. Give us a poem. Quick.
Help.
Sage, more gratitude music.
Attitude of gratitude.
Come on, Colette.
Now you do the next line.
Attitude
Does it have to rhyme?
No rules.
Attitude of gratitude. Musically connected.
Musically connected. That's what we need more of. That's a great thing. Okay, Sage, pick 3.
What?
Come on, let's play it again.
Okay. Around,
Around,
broken,
broken,
and I can't read any of these. Recap.
recap. Around, broken, recap. Go ahead, Colette.
Around, broken, recap.
Could do one.
Mend, bound, reattach.
Which word is that?
I knew I was going to be the one to mess it up. I knew it.
You have to save me, save me.
Okay, wait. The 3 words were around, broken, and reattached.
Recap.
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 And you just said mend.
Okay, to recap this game.
I'm done.
Before we did this is done.
No, come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. Recap, broken, and around.
Recap, broken, and around.
Well, you need is one
Just
sentence.
do one sentence with
Using
one
one
of the words.
Basically, no matter what I say, you're going to hysterically laugh.
All right, you start.
Around the bend.
And around the bend and broken edges.
Around the bend and broken edges.
I'm back again.
What is
Around the bend. Okay, on to Sage's laugh.
I am done with you.
I'm done with myself.
Okay.
We did good on the first one.
You did great, Colette. You're so funny. Okay.
Okay,
So
let me
out of
collect
it.
myself.
Colette, what do you think this is? A piece
2
of?
dragons
2 dragons.
around a sun.
Around
Okay, yeah. So this one we were given a prompt. It wasn't even really a prompt. It was just create an illuminated object, whatever materials you want. So I created this little light box. And so the light bulb moves back and forth to like change the shadows. And then the side is stars and like scales. And then this side is the moon. So that side was the sun. And then this like a moon dragon.
And why the dragon?
I mean, I think I pulled inspiration from you and your recent like, I guess,
Dragon mother.
yeah, like your dragon stuff. And I also wanted to do something like with the stars and like the solar system because it was light based. And my original plan was to do like an outer layer of stars, and then these would slide down and it'd be like all buildings. So like artificial light versus
Nice.
natural light. But that was too much to do in the time period we had.
You know what I find so interesting? You know me, I always look to make meaning. And this piece, given what I read about our experience in the church, right, where we're talking about the orange light of the electric candle just being inauthentic,
Right.
fake, not real, and the flame of the dragon. And this piece is actually an integration of both sides.
True.
Right? We have the dragon, we have the fire, we have the natural light of the stars represented, and then we have the electric current.
Right.
Going
We actually
through
had
it.
to wire the current ourselves too.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that it's wired, and somehow like that combination can create just such a beautiful piece. I love it so
Thank
much.
you.
I really do. I love the colors, and I love this idea of just allowing the elements to come together. And I think that's a big part of sort of what I've really come to. When you were saying on the couch, I'm in a lot of ways grateful for cancer.
Yeah.
Like, I am grateful for that break. In the same way, I am grateful for the synchronicity of the moment of needing the church, and then very personally having a priest who was arrested
Right.
from our parish happen at the same moment.
Yeah.
Even though I was so devastated by it at the time, it pushed me to look beyond my little box, right? That little box that I lived in, to find something else, to find something more. But the key is, and it was with your cancer too, I really saw this, is that does not happen immediately, right? It really takes
Absolutely
years.
not. Well, even when I was auditioning for all those shows and like whatever, when I would get rejected or like I'd make it and then be cut last minute, like in the moment I was like, this is devastating. But then now I look back at it and I'm so happy I did that. Like, I learned so much, like the importance of rejection, and like now like rejection's not easy for me to take because it's never easy, but like I use it to build myself up rather than
To crumble.
yeah. But in the moment,
and
the
it
worst.
takes a long time to get there. And I think that, you know, it's easy to do the spiritual bypass where you go, this is happening for a reason. Be grateful for this happening. You can't get to gratitude until like you have really grieved, until you've really felt the anger and the pain and the confusion and the why me and what next and is it ever going to change and what's the point, all of those. And then eventually, if you stick with it long enough, you come out the other side.
Yeah.
But there is such a time element. Look, you were 6. You are now 20.
That's crazy.
Right? And I can honestly say now, 14 years later, like I could sit with a priest on the couch and really engage in a conversation about this without being brutal.
Yes.
Because I know that he probably has a story too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Everybody carries their own story.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
And things that happen when we're little, especially around faith, you know, those markers of faith when you're little, the church, they stick with you. And the last piece I'm going to read today is actually what would happen to me when we were little. My father, on Sunday, it was his one day off from work, he was supposed to take us to church.
Right.
And he never wanted to go to church. He wanted to go visit his brother, his sister, have coffee, grow his tomatoes. And he taught me a lot by like not following protocol, by not just saying, okay, everybody does it, you have to do it, and ask why not, and what really matters, and what is spirituality and love and all of those things. You never got to meet that grandpa.
I didn't.
But you have his middle name, Luigi,
I do.
Sage Luigi, and you actually remind me a lot of him. You look a lot like him, and you certainly have his European flair. Right?
Wait, so I have a question for
Yes.
you. So I know, like, you got, like, your, like, not rebel spirit, but that type of spirit from, like, you originally saw it with your dad.
Yes.
And, like, was there a defined moment when you, like, actually began, like, practicing it? Because I know, like, as a kid, I was always, like, a lot of times I was embarrassed of, like, when something wasn't right, like even in public, and you'd like stand up and say something, and like I look back on it and I'm like, that was amazing, like I wish I could do that. Was there like a moment or like the first time that you remember that happening?
That's actually a great question, because I was like almost I don't know what's the word, like crippled by shyness.
Right.
So shy and quiet, and never ever wanted to rock the boat. Never wanted to rock the boat. But there was also at the same time always this piece in me, I think because I was more of an observer, because I was so shy, again, the blessing and the curse.
Right.
I was so shy that I tended to stand back and observe. So I got to have such a good perspective on, no, this isn't okay. This isn't okay. But when did I finally find my voice to speak out? What was that moment where I just said, nope, don't like this. This isn't enough. I don't think it really came until I started having my own children. I think for me, the role of mother, like, activated a level of protection, and that's why you kids witnessed it the most.
True.
Right? It was always around, like, I will protect the children, and I'm kind. Like, I've always wanted to be kind, but you can be kind and fierce.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you're able to do so well. Even all my friends say it.
Really?
That, like, you can put people in their places without being, like, rude or nasty or, like, belittling, which, I don't know, I just, want to be able to do that one day.
Because I was telling Mary that I definitely felt nervous with this show, and even when I was reading the piece that you're in, there was like such an inner rattle of, again, I'm speaking words that may offend.
But it's the truth, so you can't fight the truth.
Right.
And it needs to be heard.
Thank you, Sage. You're such a good support. Thank you for coming on. You just went through finals. You did not even sleep.
I haven't slept. I'm sick.
Drove
and
home.
I leave for Germany in 2 days.
And I love you.
Oh, I love you.
My son, my boy, and my Miss Colette. Any questions for me? Come on, my love. What? Tell me.
Nothing. I'm just, wow, I really just have been so out of it this entire time.
You have not been out of it. You've been great. You've been right here.
Like,
You're so cute.
I feel like the element of surrogate motherhood you've really, truly, like, done for me. But I wonder, is that a role that you think that anyone can just kind of jump into at any point? Like, at what point should a person be able to do that?
I love that. Because to be a surrogate is to be a vessel. It's to be a carrier. And it's beyond your own possession. That was the most, like, opening thing about carrying Mary. With my own children, they're mine. So, like, when you possess, you're always, like, trying to push them back so that they can be who they are. Mary was always separate, and so I could just love her. And I feel like that's how it is with people that I do feel are my surrogates in life. God, so much, such a surrogate daughter you are to me. I could hold you, but you belong to your mother. So in a way, it allows for an easier love to be a surrogate because it's not possessive. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't try to control, and it's impossible for me not to want to control you in some way, even though you guys push back against me
we do
a lot and do what you want, but there is still, I want to hold you. I want to hold you here. So anytime you can. We're certainly surrogates for our pets, right? Our beautiful little puppies.
Of course.
True.
Well, that's like one of the things that I know that I've always said. If I'm in a fight with like my parent or something, I'm like, you always come to mind because there's this unique way that you are able to recognize that parents want to like hold on and just kind of hold them back. And I feel like it's very rare to be a nurturer and be able to allow growth and true individuality in your kids. And I feel like that's something that I've always admired about you.
Thank you, Colette, because and that I've always seen, every person is just like unique onto themselves. So that is totally a given. Though the actual, job of parenting, of mothering is a series of losses. Like every step of the way, like, oh, you're walking, and then you're running away from me. You know, like, what? How did that happen within a week? So, like, yes, you got into college. Oh, and then you're packed up and gone. Like, so you're always dealing with this celebration and grieving. It's hard to do. So surrogacy all the way. Gives us some distance. Awesome. So I'm going to go to my final piece. Like I said, thank you so much, you two, for sitting on the couch, for me dragging you along. And good luck with everything that's coming for both of you this summer.
Yes.
Love you both.
Love you.
Love you, my Colette. We close our show today with Church of Our Father. Sunday morning, Brooklyn, the early 1970s. Onion sauteing in olive oil, 11 a.m. folk mass. Dad is taking us, Mom is staying home, rolling meatballs as we roll out the door. Our Father, the Good Shepherd, leading his flock, so proud, still new to this country, from the port of Naples to the dock of New York City, down 70th Street toward Bay Parkway, the opposite direction of church. Dad, where are we going? To visit family. But Daddy, we're supposed to go to church. Forget about church. Schwartzy's Deli, Rimini's Bakery, Catholics and Jews, Italians and Eastern Europeans, bagels and cannolis, Saturday Sabbath, Sunday Mass, one foot in front of the others, trying not to step on cracks. Dad, missing church is a sin. We're going to go to hell. Hell? Hell is on earth. What does that mean? We pass Jan's ice cream. Dad lights a cigarette. Camel, no filter. I like the way he inhales. But what about Jesus? Will he be mad at us? Did Jesus ever go to church? There was no church back then, Dad. That's right. So what did he do? He walked around, visited friends, told stories, drank wine, ate bread, and taught people how to love each other. So he won't be mad? Jesus was a revolutionary. He likes a rebel. That's not what the priests say. The N train passes underground. The sidewalk rattles. I don't like breaking rules. The subway station smells disgusting like pee. We run, hold our noses. Our Father clears his throat, spits his smoky phlegm to the side. I grab my little sister Rosalie, pull her from stepping in it. She screams, yuck! Our Father stops. We all stop. On the corner of 65th Street, he tells us to listen. Nobody is above you, and nobody is below you. We are all equal in the eyes of God. When you love your family, you love God. The table where the family sits is my church. Understand? Yes. That made sense to me. Somehow it made perfect sense. I don't know why, but it still does. We arrive home, Sunday dinner, 2 p.m., water boiling, pasta thrown, 10 minutes and all will be ready. My mother asks, how was church? We didn't go. The flash of fury in my mother's eyes. Pasta boiling, words flying, penance pending, pasta draining, steam rising, children gathering at the table in their seats, head bowed, hands folded. Grace interrupted. Our Father fires off his sermon. Nobody stands in my way of getting to God. If I have a problem, I go directly to the source. I don't have to go through his corrupt administrative assistants, and neither do my children. My mother backs down. She knows there is truth to what he is saying. Our father offers us some wine. My mother won't tolerate that. Dad laughs. A little red wine is good for them. We pass the bread, dip it in the sauce, eat, drink, and talk about our week. From that day forward, my mother starts taking us to church on Saturday nights, 5 o'clock Mass. So, Dad, God bless you for knowing. God bless you for planting a seed inside my tender soul to know, to understand the rebellion that Jesus brought us in his teachings. And my mother gave us a practice, the combination of a compassionate, rebellious heart and a good daily practice. That's the soil. That's where the concept of a new church begins for me. And for you, maybe just think about it. Who are you as a spiritual being? What were your first experiences? Where did you feel like you belong? Where is your surrogate church? And what is the intent? Our intent to love God, to love family, and to bring people together at a table where all kinds of conversations can be had. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to the next time we're together.